another room to do
And we
that.
are
Okay. I'll just hit
Definitely.
record on my end. It's okay.
I just saw we are recording. We are live. Hi, everyone.
Okay. Well, Nicole's recording it from her end. That's good. All right.
It is recording.
All righty.
Good to
Well,
go.
I figure we can kick here. I guess we're recording, so we will do the. I guess we'll kick this right off. We got another minute, but if anyone, before we actually kick and really go on here, does anyone have any questions at all, or is going through any kind of issues that they want to bring up before we start really digging in? I can click on all your faces and see you all. You're just staring at me. It's very awkward.
We have tons of issues.
Where'd that come from? I didn't see that one. Mons?
No,
Oh,
that was us, yeah.
Hey, you guys. What's going on out there in the old West Coast?
Everything.
Everything and nothing.
Oh, no.
So, yeah, we have, we have our older rig, and so we're working through all kinds of stuff with it. And so what is we still need a new air conditioner.
Yep.
We need to do, I know you're going to be talking about maintenance. We aren't very good at doing that. So we need to get better at that.
We need someone to come and do maintenance.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I need to fly out west and come do it, huh?
We need
Per diem.
We need help.
That'd work out. It'd be good.
So,
This is the horrible part. This is the horrible part. We moved down from the Pacific Northwest where it's been raining all the time, and now we get wonderful sun, and now we're stay at home, and we know the roads that are across us, but we can't have them help us anyway because we can't go close enough. So it's the perfect time to fix everything, yet we can't go fix anything. Yeah. So it's kind of how it is.
Yeah. We have trying to.
Yeah, small little things.
We're not as competent as we could be still. So it's a work in progress.
Have you done any troubleshooting on the air conditioner yet?
No, we haven't turned it on since it caught on fire last August or
good Lord. I was like, wasn't that like back in the summer?
It was at the end of summer.
Well, we never need it.
And we didn't need it all winter because it was nice and cool. And so, we don't turn it on. So, we figure we will take it off and get a new one and put it in place unless, I just don't even know what to do with that.
So now that I've actually been through school, I feel a little smarter when I can give you an idea of what to do here.
Okay.
You can bullshit us with confidence. Oh, sorry.
It's almost like the veteran fire, but we're recorded.
Yes, I forget where I am sometimes. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Oh, good. No judgment. What I'd say is this: if you get a chance, if you can go to the air conditioning unit, go up to the roof and take the cover off. You're going to see probably 2 or 3 little circular gray tubes. Those are capacitors. If you do that on a day you want to do this, give me a call. I'll help you out through the video, which I have no problem with. Take a look at the capacitors. I'm willing to bet that the fire probably started with one of those exploding.
Okay.
And the good thing about that is if it is just the capacitor that blew, your air conditioner's fine. We just replaced the capacitor and your air conditioner's back and running.
Oh, I like that better than buying a whole new air conditioner.
Yeah, we all do. So
even though this is like a 18th century model, but if it works, it works.
It very well could be. The good thing about and I'll talk about this here in a second. The good thing about air conditioners is it's basically either really easy to fix or it's the whole assembly.
Right. Okay. So we could find out quickly and then make a decision and.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. That's good.
All right. So it is, let's see here. So it's 4:03 on the East Coast, 3:03 my time, 2:03, 1:03. All right. So we've hit all the time zones. I guess we have 8 people here. So 7. Welcome. Hi, I'm Brian. I'm your happy secondary host for today. And I'll be going over RV maintenance. Last time I did this class, I went over a lot of other things, especially when it came to maintenance. I really dug into kind of the sub-assemblies and went through kind of component-wise. If you haven't seen, if you haven't seen that video, it should be on the Facebook page, and it is a recording from before. So you're welcome to go back through it. I am always, I know I can say this to you confidently, and as long as I can hear my phone, I will always pick up whenever someone calls. I have no problem helping you out. That is why I've said so much of myself out there of like, look, call me, I will help you. I'm not going to be like, oh, if you call me, hey, all right, it's going to start costing you money. Well, talk to me first. Let me see if I can't help you to get it fixed. I can't come out to where you are, so let's help you with this situation. It is a rough situation where money is important right now. Let's not go spending extra on just a lot of stuff if you can fix it yourself, okay? Now, I can only speak for me. I can't speak for any other tech. So, with that being said, let's get into some fun stuff, shall we? It's fun. Maintenance is one of my favorite things. Those that know me, you've heard about my background, but I'll throw it out there. For those of you who haven't, I'm a retired Marine helicopter mechanic. I worked on Huey and Cobra attack helicopters for the last, 20-something years. Got out, joined full-time, went full-time after just saying, hey, I need to get on the road and change our lives, my wife's idea, and we just did it. Didn't know the first thing about it, so bought a 20-year-old rig, didn't even inspect it. Just hoped that this guy was 100% honest and was nice and the money was good. So it was like, all right, cool. We're good. Let's go. So we took the rig on the road and just made it happen. Thankfully, the guy was very, very, very honest about things. And actually, the rig turned out to be wonderful. I've only had minor maintenance issues, which have been a godsend, for lack of better terms. The ones I have had have brought excellent educational opportunities to me on don't touch wires when the power's on. That's lesson one for everyone that ever wants to deal with any kind of electronics. Don't touch things when the power's on. Nothing good comes from that. So the other stuff that really comes down to is just taking a look back to starting at the point of where something begins. So if you have a problem, I always say to go to the source. If it's a power problem, you need to start back at the power post outside the rig. Don't just automatically assume that it's a component. It's not always just the component. It could actually be something else. How many of us have really gone into a park and the pedestal was perfect and pristine, and when you plugged in and you flipped the breaker, it was a smooth transition and power was wonderful with no other issues? I think I've had it twice or three times in my whopping year and a half on the road. More often than not, that post has been beat up and has got spiders in it and lizards, and then you plug in your thing and you're hoping for power and it's all over the place, and finally it settles. Power issues happen. That's one of the few things. If anyone, there was a few of us that are here, we're at Friday Creek when we were at a rally or we were at a hangout. We had a wonderful time dealing with power and how we didn't seem to have enough. One site would have, I think one site had a wonderful 120 volts and everything was great. And then my site was on the end of a round on a one series, and I think I was getting 108 volts. And then Jason Simpson, who is across from me, he was getting anywhere between 100 and he was in the hundreds all the way to 110. And he said one day it was great. He had 120 and he couldn't believe it. But power issues happen because things will start shutting down. So that is another thing that comes with your electronical? Is that a word? It is. All right, we'll just use it. Another thing that comes with electronic issues or electronic systems is they have built-in safeties. So if something in your 12-volt system, which is your battery system, if it's designed, it has a fault or it has a range in there for safety. Most of them, if it hits 10.5 volts DC, if it goes below the 10.5, it's going to shut off. That's to protect it. It's not any kind of fault in the system. It's just to protect it. The same could be said for overvoltage. The bad thing about overvoltage is more often than not, things get fried. Now we're talking big money. One of the ones I will say is that seems to be the common is when people go to their friends and they had a RV post put in for them. A lot of electricians, I can't say a lot, a few electricians have had the accidental issue of setting it up at 240 VAC because they think a normal house setup with a double pole, double throw. Now you just plugged in with your post. You didn't have that little power surge protector, and you just shot 240 VAC into your house and fried every single component in your rig. That became horribly expensive. So, one thing I always say to do is this. If you do not have a multimeter, one of those simple little 2-prong little thing, you plug it in there and you check, go ahead and get one. I know that they seem crazy, but you can go to Harbor Freight and get them for cheap. And I think they're at $10. A little simple one is not going to do you any problems because you need to check on this. When you get into a site, one of the first things you should do before you put your rig power in is check the power coming off of the post. If you're a 50 amp, which you do, take one probe, put it in one side of the vertical, then on the bottom, check and see. You want to go all around. When you go to the two that are vertical, the hot leg and the neutral, both hot at that time, when you hit them both, they're going to read 240. That's okay. Lane M, we had an issue with South Jetty. Oh, I lost the chat. Oh, hold on. I'll get it back. We had an issue with South Jetty that fried our converter. Ooh. Oh, I'd be so mad. Yeah, that's not cool. I want to hear more about that one. I'd love to hear about what happened with that, if you don't mind putting in a little bit more. Okay. Also, I'm sorry, I should have opened with this. If you all have any questions, please unmute. Come on in. I'm happy to be here and talk to you. The one thing I will say is this: let's not all unmute and start all talking, because all of a sudden we'll start stepping on each other and we won't be able to hear anything. So that's one of the biggest, my big request. Okay, so you plug in for the power, you check it. You want to make sure that you're getting the right voltage out. The goal basically is you want to have 110. If you don't have an EMS, electronic management system, they're a good investment in my opinion, just because of all the parks with their different power situations and places we've been. This is a bad thing about sticks and bricks. You get people that come cut the grass, don't really pay attention to your schedule. It's awesome. Sorry, ADD kicked in. Bad time there. So when you check the power, make sure that you have all that going and it's good to come into the rig. If it's low, it's not wonderful. You can do damage to your components. But if you do have over, it's more than likely going to be that. I always recommend an inline surge protector. They can be anywhere from $200 to in the $1,000 range. They really can. Think of it like this. It's a smart piece of insurance to cover yourself in case something happens with power. You don't want to fry your stuff. So that's pretty much my big soapbox on electronics. Okay. I can go on and on just because that one is, but I'll go over the last two parts here. And then Elaine, I'm going to jump over to your comments. You have two power systems.
Yeah, Brian.
Oh, go ahead, Mons.
Oh, hi. This is Mons. I just wanted to ask a question.
Yeah.
If we can't find our testers that we have, I've been looking for it for a long time. We've misplaced it somewhere. But I always do a thing of I always put my surge protector in before I even plug the cord in to the thing and just let it read it off itself. Well, is that good enough? I'm knowing what's happening. I know what it's kicking out, and I know if it's in good condition enough to. And then I turn it all off, all the breakers, and then I plug in, and then when I know that everything is cool.
Okay. Yes, I will say it is. You can do that. Obviously, it's working for you. The only thing I'd say is just be careful when you plug in, because if it is an overage, it might have fry it, and you're out that one for that versus the $10 tester versus your surge protector. That'd be the only thing.
I thought he was always protected. Okay.
No, he's protecting the rig.
Oh, okay. He's one step forward than me. Okay, I got it.
No.
All right.
I don't like playing, but thank you. That was a good one.
I don't like playing with electricity, so I try to keep away from it.
Yes, I
I know
agree.
too many electricians in the military with metal plates in their head. I don't want to be like them. All right.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
No problem. Okay. Comments. I'm going to hop over to you in probably 30 seconds here. Let me finish up with this one part. So you have two power systems in your rig. You have the 12-volt system, which is your battery system, and then you have the 120-volt system, which comes off your shore power. The power off that one comes into your house, and basically it's kind of like a merging, if you will. It hits through this guy. It ends up going into the switch. So it's taking it off your battery and it's going into your converter. So it's going to take the power or move it into that. So basically the batteries come off that way, and then the converter is going to charge into the batteries to get those recharged, and it's going to power everything up. So that's how you power into those. If you plug in and you notice something with the lights, let's say your house lights all of a sudden go out. That's not a 120-volt system problem. That's actually a 12-volt system problem. That's a weird thought of like, well, how come it should be fine on this? I plug in, but if I unplug, the lights come on. Yeah, it's because they're tied in through the converter, which means there's a problem somewhere along the lines in your wiring that run to that from the switch. So it kind of gets a little crazy there. Keep in mind what systems whenever you're traveling, or if you're boondocking and you're on just the power on the converter, that's your 12 volt. But if you're using your inverter, that takes the 12 volts off your batteries and turns it to 120 volts for all the outlets, all the things you run, the air conditioner, the microwave, all that stuff. Now we're talking about a different system. So converter, inverter, the big difference really is basically what systems are on there, and if there's a problem with the system, what it is. All right, so let's hit a couple of these comments real quick. Elaine, they had power issues in our loop. They replaced receptacles, but they denied it caused our problem. They had plugged out our rig while we were out. Ooh. Bought a new power center and rewired the whole thing. Follow to YouTube. Awesome. Good job. YouTube, I love YouTube. I think it's great. However, there's a pause with that. Verify whatever you're looking at on there. Verify versus a couple more things. Do a little bit more research over that one. I love YouTube. I think it's great. I've used it several times, and I've applauded numerous people for doing theirs, but there's also a couple people that I've looked at and said, you're going to cause somebody's rig to explode because you're jumpering things you shouldn't be jumpering. So if it doesn't seem right, make sure you take a pause with that and kind of think about it, okay? But Elaine, that's awesome. I mean, I'm going to click on you so I can see you. Awesome job. Way to go. David Collins, can I recommend a reliable PMS? Yeah, I guess. I mean, they're all pretty reliable. It's mostly the big names. They're always the big ones. I will say this. What you pay for, you get. I know that sounds kind of horrible to say it like that, but Progressive Industries, I like their stuff. I haven't really had many complaints about them. And there's a couple others out there, but I can do some research and we can talk later. I have no problem with that. And then Elaine, I do have questions about batteries. We unhooked our battery before storing the rig for winter. When we got out yesterday and hooked up the battery, it won't run the jack or slides. Does it just need to be recharged? My initial answer is yes. It sounds like it's probably a charging issue. But I'd need to know a little bit more about it. Would be, what kind of rig do you have? And does it, if you just plug them in, were they fresh? And on the other side of that, we could probably test the batteries too, and take a look and see if there's any kind of shorted cells or power issue like that. And we will jump on that one here in a little bit. Oh, there we go. Keystorm Passport Travel Trailer. Okay. So yes, you needed to recharge them. Yeah, I would charge them up, give them a charge. With a generator, if you have it, or solar's fine. But if you can get them a good charge up, that would do really good. You might be able to even to charge it through your truck. One of your number 7, I believe, should be able to charge from the battery, from the rig, or from your tow vehicle to the house to keep it done. Just depends on your tow system. Okay, so that's what we got for comments there. I plugged into our shore power plug. Okay, cool. Yeah, let's definitely talk about that some more then. You should be getting recharged off the shore power. If not, then we have another problem. And that could be a very simple fix. All right, so let's talk about a few things when it comes to being where we are. So I know that a lot of us are stationary. And we're going to be for a little while the plague of 2020 decides it wants to stick around and keep messing with us and not allowing us to travel. I get it. It's not fun. I'm in sticks and bricks. I would like to be out in the world, seeing things and in a national park, enjoying and having my daughter play with our friends that we've met along the way. All our kids, I know they're probably going nuts. I get it. It's a good time. And we definitely miss everybody we've camped with, and we look forward to seeing you all again. But this is a great time to teach the kids what not to do in the rig. Don't plug things into outlets you shouldn't be plugging into. Don't, overcharge things that you don't need to be charging. So one of the things I always say is take a look at oh my gosh, my brain just shut down. Where the converter is and all the box, the linear converter, basically the power module. Take a look at it. Pull the cover off and take a look at the bottom. The converter's probably in there depending on which one you have. So where all your fuses are and all that stuff, that whole module there, you want to take a look at it and inspect it. You want to look for dust. It's probably got some. If you've been traveling around for a while, there's a good chance that it's pretty dusty in there. So a canned air is okay. Not a bad idea. Always to go through with that. However, pause for effect. Turn off the power to the house before you do it. Because if you don't, something bad could happen. I don't want you to get shocked. I don't mind shocking myself. I don't want you to get shocked. That's that would not be a good time. After that's done, that's cleaned out, that's good to go. Awesome. Moving on to the next one. When you're in that area, if you blow a fuse or have any kind of other issues with that with power, please don't put another fuse in and see if it's going to blow again. I know that sounds kind of counterintuitive, like, oh, I just blew a fuse. Well, why did you blow a fuse? Fuses don't just give up the ghost and let out their magic smoke. There's something that normally comes around to it. So if it did, you need to do a little bit of troubleshooting to go back. You need to find out where this is more than likely a short. You need to do a little bit of troubleshooting. And you can do that. There's a lot of, I'll throw one for YouTube. There's YouTube videos out there for that. Or you can call somebody. There are several techs and full-time families. And I'm sure that all of them would be happy to say, hey, what do you need? We're all here for you. It's kind of the fun part. It's why we do what we do. So go back and take a look at that one. All right. We just left winter. Supposedly, depending on where you are. I'm in Tennessee. Last week, it was 80, and it was beautiful. Last night, it was 27 degrees, and today it's 40. Where's my spring and summer? I've been cheated. That's not fair. So my heater is still being run. Though I'm in sticks and bricks, yes, I still run the heater in my coach because I still have water in the tanks. I still have water in the lines. That's me. Not saying you have to. However, I do not wish to replace my water system. That can be extremely painful. So I keep my heat running and with all that stuff there. But once the season ends, which if some of you are in a warm climate, you could do one of the few things that a lot of people don't want to do. You're actually supposed to check your heater yearly. You're actually supposed to pull it out of its case and inspect it and clean it. The reason is that the fire doesn't exactly go into it's not, I don't know. My brain always thought, well, there's fire and then there's heat coming out. And that means the fire is from the heat and it's all doing, boy, was I wrong. Yes, there's fire in a chamber, and then there's air that comes through, and it hits that chamber on the outside and blows into the house. It's like, oh, well, that prevents carbon monoxide poisoning. How genius! I'm an idiot. Good thing I went to school, so I learned these things. But I also saw something really I didn't expect. When we had the case, it's just that little box that's in. So you take a look at it. You can see how wide your heater is. That's all there is. So if you get dust bunnies and things like that in there, where are they going? Nowhere. I mean, they're going to follow the path, right? So they're going to get stuck in your sail switch, which is going to prevent the heater from coming on. It's a little itty bitty flapper valve in there. It's a cheap part that causes the biggest problems. I don't get it, but it happens. So if you clean it out, you need to put everything back in. It's a little bit of a pain. So if you want to do it, talk to me afterwards. I will happily help you out with that. I'll go through the whole thing. It is a process, and you do need to shut off your propane gas before you do that. Don't let the gas run on a system that might be running gas. It's not a good thing. Bad things can happen. If any spouses are out there looking at their husbands right now, It's not. We're smart. We know what we're doing. We promise. We just sometimes forget about the little line. Okay, so just be gentle. I've forgotten a couple times. Not saying I haven't, but I have. All right, so the heating one, it's a good thing to clean and it's good to inspect. And yes, you can do it. It's a little bit of a PETA, but it's not too bad. Okay. Moving from heater inside the house, the refrigerator. Outside, if you still have your RV fridge, if you don't have for that, if you have a residential, cool. I still recommend you do this though, because you probably still have the panel in the back. If you still have the panel on the outside of the rig, you're going to want to pop the panel off. Look for powder for one. If you see any yellow powder, anything that looks kind of funky like that on the bottom, that's actually an impending sign that your refrigerator is going to die. That means the cooling unit has a leak. The good thing is you can replace a cooling unit. That's nice. You don't have to replace the entire RV. You can replace just the cooling unit. The difference being $400 or $1,000. If you want a new fridge, you can get a new fridge. I mean, it's no big deal. But looking in there for that, that's a good sign for that. You're also looking for corrosion, look for rust, because rust is a symbol of electrolytes, which means water. Water's probably gotten in there. It might be a good idea to clean out, find out where it's coming from. I have seen it recently in a rig, a brand new rig. The drain line from the inside of there ran down to a cup. And the line just sat in the cup, but there was no hole in the cup. So when it drains in there and it sits in the cup, where's the water go? I don't know. It just sits there. It's beautiful. It's a wonderful design. To me, it's almost military logic. It's, hey, who's the lowest bidder? I need a cup. A quarter? Nah, it's too much. Penny? Yes. There you go. So you got to kind of look at those things. So corrosion, that one. Look for any kind of hardware that may have fallen out. I have seen screws out of nowhere just sitting there, which is weird. You'll think, wait, where did this come from? Before you panic, think it could also have been an extra one out of the kid's pocket that he left it in there after he installed the fridge. Might not be anything. Take a look around. And finally, your gas line. It's supposed to be brass. If it changes colors or anything like that, that's a sign that something has happened. The metal is hardened. There might actually be another problem. We might have to fix that. Well, no, we do. I'm sorry. Let me try to rephrase that. You need to get that one fixed. So it's good to go through and take a look at that. Okay. Inside the fridge, does everybody get the frost? They get the frost. It's yeah. I saw the Reyes family's hands go up first. That was a good one. Yeah. both together. Yep, that was us. It's actually kind of a funny thing. The more food I have in there, the more frost I get. Yet the less food I have, the less frost I get. What is that? What's the deal with this? Why do I have this frost? Everyone gets it. There's no escaping. However, I've seen it on YouTube. This great idea to take a hairdryer and melt the ice, right? Because it's hot air. It's gonna work. It's gonna do great things. However, what happens with water and electronics, a hairdryer, something about movies and zapping and, oh man, people screaming and bad things and other stuff, right? Yeah, that's real. Yeah, ask me how I know. Really, ask me how I know. Yeah, that happened. Won't happen again. I learned. I'm not going to do that again. To defrost your fridge, take a bottle or get water, put it on the stove and heat it up. Empty out your fridge while this is heating, put everything in the cooler, then take that hot water, put it inside on the shelf, close the door for 10, 15 minutes, let that heat percolate. Also make sure the fridge is off. Obviously, you don't want it to be continuing cooling and getting air. While it's in there, it's doing that, it's loosening up. Grab a spray bottle, fill that with hot water. Now, when you open it up, it should be a little bit looser. Spray it down with the hot water and then continue to go through like that. The reason is this. Not only are you going to save yourself with the electrical without zapping yourself. We don't want you to do that. What is your refrigerator internal made of? Is it metal? No. It's that beautiful plastic. Plastic and heat. Do they get along? No. Bad things come. If you heat up plastic too much, it's going to bubble and it's going to bend. You can go on YouTube and see I'd love to say the name of the video, but I don't remember. You open the door and it was showing the fridge. I'm like, I don't know what I have a problem with. And all I saw were ripples. And I was like, your first problem is you melted the inside of your fridge. Good job. I'm sorry, you need a whole new refrigerator. But you know, that was just me. If that would have been my customer, it'd have been, I'm sorry. So that will prevent you from ruining your fridge and destroying it, but it'll also make it a lot easier to clean it. And as you do that, my refrigerator is a little weird. I don't know if it's because the last gentleman that owned it did something different with it beforehand, but for some reason my freezer and my refrigerator drain lines are connected. So my refrigerator drain goes out, and then I got a T down inside where it did that. Well, the last time I did it, all of a sudden I started getting water into my freezer. What is up with that? How? No, that's not good, because it started flooding out. I had a lot of ice. I let it go for a while. I was a little lazy, I'll admit it. So as this thing is pouring out, I'm freaking out. I'm like, I don't get it. I just figured, how did this happen? I went out there and I found it, and I was like, okay, cool. I popped it off, and what do I find? A dead bug. How did a bug get in this line? I don't know. It's probably 20 years old, and it's all that's left of a carcass. I don't know. It probably drowned. Why am I telling you this? Because you might run into the same problem. If things are backing up, that means there's a clog. You have to identify it. Go look through the systems. You can do that. You don't need me to come out, though I would love to come out and see you. I really love seeing you guys. But you don't need me for that one. That one's an easy one for you. So start at the source, right? All right, it's filling up. Here's my starting point. Go to the back. Where's it go? Comes to here. Open. Oh, there it is. Easy fix. So that's with the refrigerator and the freezer. If you have a residential, when you pop off the back cover, you want to look for dust around the compressor, because it's probably going to be there. If it's already been boarded up, that's awesome. Whoever did that, good on them. That is what you should do. If you put a residential in, you want to board up that outside, because it's not getting anything from there. All the heating and cooling is on the bottom, on the inside of the rig. It's being pushed and pulled that way. So huge difference with that one. The other side with that one is, if it's not done, I recommend you do it. That's up to you. And if you're going to change from a RV to a residential, one of the things I say that you need to remember is this: they're not the same size, right? So what you need to do is you're going to have to do some cabinet work. If you are good with cabinet work, cool, no big deal. You can build a new one. It's really it can be very simple as long as you have the tools. But you need to do that one, and you always need to absolutely 100% positively make sure that that gas line is capped, and it's capped with something strong. I'd put on some thread seal, something to cap it. No, I don't have to worry about that. Don't take the line out of there. Don't cut it. Don't do anything else. So just put a cap in there and leave it alone. That's all good. Okay, so refrigeration, and then we'll go do a quick one on the stove. Your stove gets a lot of work. It does. It's the workhorse, right? So the things I'd say is this: if you haven't lifted up the pan underneath and cleaned it out, I recommend you do that. The other one is this: does anybody else have this? The little rail in the very front of the what's it called? Of the stove. It's just kind of it's the greatest place to hang towels, right? You just hang your little dish towel there, and all's well. It's actually an air vent right beneath it to bring air up through to help with your fire, because the flame comes from under to go up. It doesn't really do something like that. But you need to clean up that area, because that's also going to impede airflow, dust, just all sorts of stuff. Take a day, clean the stove. That's very good. With the oven, same thing on the bottom. Take a look in that area. Look around the burner. Make sure that it's not heavy in soot or any other weird stuff that's there, maybe crumbs on the bottom. Just clean it out. It's going to help the performance, and it'll be all good. I talked about this one before, but I'll go over it anyway. The gray tank and the black tank, there's not a ton you can do to said tanks. And on the same note, there's not many people that want to do anything with said tanks. You know, somebody hears gray tank issue or black tank issue, like, nope, can't help you. Sorry, you're on your own. The tanks themselves are made of polypropylene or probably polyethylene. They're plastic. That's all it is. It's just plastic. They are, my cover doesn't work. Is it possible to remove and keep the stove top? Yes, I think if I understand that. Let me go back. Actually, let me take a pause. Let me take out some stuff here. Elaine, my oven doesn't work. Is it possible to remove it and keep the stove top? Elaine, I think it depends. If you have a switch system, like you have a stove and an oven, like two different assemblies, Sure, but I don't think you do. I think it's an all-in-one. What you can do, what I did, I ripped the whole thing out because I, in the beginning, was afraid of ovens. I thought I was going to kill myself with it, and it was going to be an explosion, blah, blah, blah. I took it out and I put a cooktop in. That's all I did. I just basically, the size was the same. I just dropped a new one in, and then I have the open compartment underneath. I use that for pots and pans, but eventually it's going to become a station for a dishwasher. So it can be done. Yes, you can replace that. Does that kind of answer your question or not really? Just want to make sure there. Well, all right. You're typing, not. We can talk after. My brain's telling me it should be just one piece, but let's talk after and let's find out. We'll take a look at that for you, happily. Okay, so with the black tank and the gray tank, going back on that one, the worst smelling tank, if you haven't checked already, is definitely your gray tank. It's not the black tank. The gray tank is absolutely worst because of food particles and things like that. They get down there, they get stuck. One of the things that I found works is I take dish detergent, like used for the dishwasher, the concentrate. I get it from the dollar store. I know it's kind of a cheap one. Was that me? That is. So I'll have to call him back. The dish detergent is a lemon scented, and I think that's beautiful. However, it makes no difference. What you need to do is use that stuff on a day you're traveling. I have a 75-gallon tank in my gray tank. So I use 2 cups worth. I've seen different ratios and different people, but I find that the 2 cups has worked out. I did it at first was to clean the sensors, but then I learned you're never going to clean the sensors. I'm sorry. I wish I could say that they'd be clean. They're never going to get clean. But what it did do is it actually helped break down some of other food gunk and other things in there, greases, oils, things like that. It helps break it down. So when you pull the gray valve later on, when you get to your campground, then it all goes out with it and all is well in the world. So it's a really good thing to do, in my opinion, on a travel day, is just fill up the gray and run that through and go. The black tank, on my other class, I even said it, you can put the smell good pods in there. Okay. Yes, absolutely. The only bad thing with the smell good pods is that it breaks down the natural bacteria process of it actually eating all of the bad stuff in there, breaking down the toilet paper and all the other bad stuff, right? You put that one in there, it kills the bacteria, but it makes the smell go away. Okay. But it's either way. Can you use it? Yes, absolutely. Why wouldn't you? It makes the house smell good. There's nothing worse. If you're in a class A, like me, you're driving down the road and then the bathroom's used and the air that's flowing that way, because I don't have that cool directional thing. Mine is just one little cap. You get the airflow and all of a sudden it's like, whoa, what is that? What happened? What? I don't get it. It helps. So it's okay to do that. For those of you who are probably like, wait, does ours do that? Hey, if yours doesn't, good on you. I'm happy for you. Mine, for some reason, my vents, the way it goes, for some reason, the air flows. So that's also known as the burp. But the burp at 60 miles an hour is really bad because it just flows forward. It's horrible. All right. So black tank, gray tank, air conditioners. If you came on earlier, I was talking with one of my friends. Hi, guys. Talking to them about their air conditioners. Air conditioner maintenance. One of the things I say, the easiest thing for you to do with it being there is one, start on the inside. You got to clean the filters. That should be done quarterly at a minimum. If you look up and it's a foamy mess of dust and other bad things, you're already way behind the power curve. So make sure you get in there and just clean the filters. It can be done with just simple water. Depends on what your filter is too. Some of them are disposable, I've heard. The other ones that kind of got that mesh netting stuff. It's a very easy fix. All you do is you kind of clean it off with water, just let it run underneath and then dry it out. Don't run it underwater and then throw it right back in and run the air conditioner. It's equivalent to washing your hands and just putting it through dirt. You're just attaching the stuff even further. If you're not using a filter, I'm not judging. I've seen it. All of that bad stuff is actually attaching itself to your evaporator coil inside your air conditioner. So when you call me because your air conditioner just seems to keep freezing up and I don't know what's wrong with it, and I pop off the cap and I find the dead skin particles, the dust, and all that stuff caked on there and stuck in freezing mode, I mean, I'm going to be a little upset just because it's going to be a lot more work for you to fix it. It's so much harder. Just put the filters back in, clean them off. That's easy to do. On the top, if you go up to the top and you take the cover off, one, don't lose the screws. They're very important, but you're not going to blow anything up by taking the cover off. It's made to do it. So when you take the cover off, take a look at the coils, and you want to go through them and just kind of clean them up. The easiest way to do that is with a comb, a thin comb. It can be done. I don't recommend you go up there with a hose and then power spray in because you could bend the coils. There's also other company stuff. There's foam cleaners and things like that. They're great. I used one not too long ago. I'm actually going to probably do a video on it here soon on my page of stuff like that. If you want to follow through and see that, you're welcome to follow me on that. But it breaks down some of the stuff and you clean it and you get it all done. So those are the two things I do. The cleaning on the outside, I say do every 6 months. That's probably a good one. You can do quarterly. It's really not a big deal, but I always say 6 months. All right. We got I think I have about 15, 20 more minutes. So if you have questions, by all means, keep them coming here. If anybody wants to jump in on voice, you're more than welcome to as well. All right. All right. So we got air conditioner, heater. All right. Water heater. One of the easiest things to do with your water heater is just let it run. If you're having problems with the water heater, it's actually kind of a simple thing to fix. Water heaters are one of the easiest components in your whole RV to diagnose if there's a problem. So one of the things I say with that one is just this: make sure that it continues to just run. Make sure the heat is working on both electric and on gas. If you have an electric element and you turn it on and it's not working anymore, it's not heating the water, that is something that we need to have a conversation with. The reason I say that is this: hopefully it's not damaged on the inside. Hopefully that the piece in the electric heating element isn't broken. If the electric heating element is broken on the inside of the tank, you are, okay. The video's cutting out pretty bad on your guys' side. Oh no, that's not good. It's good to see you guys. Look forward to talking to you. Call me on Messenger if you want. We can talk face-wise. I'd love to hear from you. Been a while. So let's catch up. So back to that one. If the electric element is broken and you're turning on the power, one thing that could be happening is you could actually be inducing electric current into your water system. And that could be really bad. That could be what you hear about like hot skin and things like that. That could be a contributing factor. Dustin, I hijacked Nicole's login. How about maintaining electric brakes and bearings on the, so that's something, I know this is bad of me. I don't play with this that much because it's an extra liability for insurance purposes for us techs, apparently. However, biggest things I say is this: maintaining electric brakes and bearings on travel trailers would be this. I would inspect them, especially if you're sitting down now, not doing anything. If you know you're going to be there for a couple weeks, I would do a day where I would check all 4 or all 6. I'd pull the tires off, pull the hubs off, make sure that you have the grease to put them all back together because you're going to need to grease the bearings again. Take a look at the bearings. If you pop them out and run them through your finger and you roll them, they should be smooth and no fray of dents, dings, nicks, and flat spots. Flat spots are very common with that. So you need to make sure that you get those fixed. If it is damaged, replace it. Do not put the originals back in. Please, please, please don't put the broken ones back in. All you're asking for is problems. If you need whole new hubs, it stinks. I feel so bad to tell you this, but if it needs it, it's got to happen. Because if you go down with damaged hubs, how are you going to stop in the emergency situation in case that thing fails? So with your brakes, the things to check are to make sure, one, your brake controller, that it's actually pulling. So you need to, when you go out, it's always a good idea to do 2 things. One would be to make sure that when you drive off, you kind of just hit the manual brake and see if it's slowing you down. That's one to make sure. The other one is before you leave, pull the breakaway switch. I know people are like, whoa, I was told never to pull it. Pull it. You're not going to hurt it. You're not going to break it. I promise. Pull it. Try to move forward in the rig and see if it goes. I'm not saying gun it. Just try to give it a nudge and see. It shouldn't pull, right? It should be locked up. So if that's a good way to check that one. And as far as electric brakes, I'd say take a look at the wires from the inside. When you go underneath, take a look at how they go into the hub. Make sure they're good there. The spacer that goes where it connects through the metal, make sure it's there, or grommet something there so that it's not sitting wire on metal. That's a good way for it to break, and make sure that it's not in the direction of possible travel. Unfortunately, I've seen that one once in our class, and it was pretty cool to see what happens with that. It's really rough. So that's pretty much the big ones there. If you are going to redo your brakes, when you pull them off, this is the thing that I'll say. When you put the new ones on, pull off the old stuff, put the new stuff back on. What you need to do is you put the tire on, and the very back of the hub, there's a little, well, it's like a little slit about this far with a rubber thing in there. That's for the brake adjuster. You need to spin the tire. It should spin either from one marker, it should spin 3/4 to 1 full revolution only. If it does, great. If it doesn't, you need to adjust the brakes on the inside. There's a lever. You just adjust from that. You don't have to pull everything back apart. Down and up, you'll be able to see and you check it. But that's how you do those. So those are the two things with that. Dustin, I hope that answered the majority of that piece. But thank you for bringing that up. I get away from tires. I shouldn't. Secondary to tires. The sun hates your tires. It wants to destroy them. It is destroying them. If your tires aren't covered, the rubber does have a tendency to age and deteriorate. I could give you some statistics. There's no point. I have tire covers and I don't use them. Why? Because I've been lazy. But I also know that I'm replacing my tires in the next few months. So to me, it didn't really matter. I need to get rid of them anyway. They're aging out. But as soon as I get the new ones in, yeah, I'll be putting the covers on. That being said, also, when you get the car or the truck, can't even speak English. When you start getting the rig washed, do not put Armor All or shiny stuff on the tires. Or if you do, you can, sure. Just make sure it's not alcohol-based. Alcohol dries out rubber. You don't want dried out tires like that. You don't want them to fall apart while you're driving. Nothing good can come from that. That's really bad. Don't want that piece there. Those pieces, electric those. And then for the light system, in the rig, anything else really is just keep it clean. Go through the things, look at the lights. If they need to be changed, change them out. Don't. If you need to change your lights to LED or want to, it is a very simple process to do. Yeah, some people have the fixed lights that they can't change the bulb. You can actually change the whole fixture. It's really not that difficult. You drop it, change out the wire, put the wires into the new ones, and put them up. Try it. Make sure everything's good there. If you are going to do solar, cool. I think the solar is amazing and it's awesome. I would love to do that in the new rig whenever we get one. After it's done, before the installer leaves, make sure all your lights work and all your systems work. Screws just went through your ceiling. There are some places where wire goes through in the roof. Just make sure everything still works, because if it doesn't and they're still there, you want them to fix it. Very easy thing to do, an easy thing to have them take care of for you. And I can't recommend that enough. And then engine or generators. If you have a generator, whether it's internal or external, you got to do oil changes. You got to do the maintenance. You need to take a look. You need to download the manual if you don't have it from original, because you still need to follow the normal guidelines on that, or your generator will die. The other one with a generator is, when you start it up, even if you had the circuit breakers on, notice the generator doesn't automatically switch over in the automatic transfer switch, right? It doesn't just kick right in and start going. That's because it's going through its warm-up cycle. And then all of a sudden, power, boom, you're good. The same was said when you're shutting it off. You need to let power off of it because the generator needs to spin down on its own. If you shut it off with a load, which I've done this a lot, I didn't know this. I didn't know that you weren't supposed to do that. I figured I'd just shut it off. It's all good. But if you shut it off with a load going, what you can actually do is cause your stator, the internal piece causing the power, to short out and to throw. So then now I'm out of generator, out of stator, because my generator's not made anymore. Easy thing to do is just to turn off the circuit breakers and let it wind down and then shut it down. Give it about 5 minutes. So those are pretty much the easiest things I can give you as far as maintenance goes. There are tons of other things we could talk about when it comes to maintenance. I love the discussion. Absolutely love talking about how to fix a rig. And I also love talking about updates. I think it's really cool to see how many of us FTF family members renovate our rigs to make it more usable for ourselves. I'd love to see your projects. If you have a project in mind, I'd love to look at it and talk to you if you're not sure about something. You'd be surprised how fun it is to change out your carpet. If you haven't done it yet, be prepared for the March of 1,000 nails. I'm sorry, staples. They don't hold back with staples on carpets. That kid, if I ever meet that kid, I don't know. That's ridiculous. You don't need that many, kid. Back it off. Walls, fun stuff there. Yes, you've seen people drive screws into the walls, right? Anyone seen that one yet? I think I've seen it in one rig. I kind of shuddered at first, but then I was like, oh, well, you sealed it at least. You put a ceiling behind it. That's good. Craziness. Just, you got to be careful with what you put into the walls and where you go with things, especially with the WAN and all that. There's a lot of crazy stuff that can happen. Oh, thank you. I didn't even think of that. Awnings. An awning does need to be checked from periodic. It doesn't like to sit forever. Whether the springs can develop rust because it does get hot in those tubes, condensation can go. Make sure that the awning still comes out. It's also important to take a look at the fabric and make sure it's not torn. Depending on your awning, a lot of different things can be done with the maintenance on there. It can very well just be the springs might be bad. I've seen the nice ones that come out automatically. They're on very nice. A lot of them are on the higher end coaches that have the kind of a U shape or V shape spring. So when the wind grabs it, it's supposed to bang shoot back out and fix itself. Sometimes they still flip over. So it's always good to look at that. Make sure the springs are still good. For the pull out ones, make sure the arms are good. They're not corroded. Double check the levers to make sure that they still are the hold. Mine actually sheared a rivet off, which I thought was really great when one day when I pulled the handle and it just ended up in my hand. Thankfully, it was down. It wasn't up because that would have been a really bad day. So was it something I could have done? No, it just gave up and it quit. So something easy to replace? Yeah, just a matter of to get the parts. If you ever have any questions, this pretty much ends my class. I'm sorry, there's a bunch of stuff I could go over, but I'm going to let it go at that because I gave you a ton of information today. I basically tried to fly through an hour of what I've learned in 12 weeks. So try to make it easy. If you have questions, by all means, I am following the majority of the posts on our rally page. Sometimes the alerts don't hit me until later. That's probably user error. More than likely is. You are more than welcome to message me on Facebook. My name is my name, so you can find me on there. It might take, video is breaking up. That's weird. I wonder if my internet's bad. I'm showing good signal. I hope not. Message me on Facebook. I will happily take a look and answer any questions I have. For video, please, by all means, you can send me. I'm happy to do things through video message. If you have a question for troubleshooting, I can do it through phone. I have done it through video messaging. I don't mind that. I like helping you as much as I can. I do have my own page. I'm not going to pump it up here. You can find it through the pages. Go through if you wish and find me, and I can message you there. So I'm going to open this up. If anyone has any more questions, I know we lost a few people due to connection issues. I apologize. Hopefully my internet held. I don't know if it did. I can only see myself somewhat. But go ahead and put them in the chat or come on and
Thank you.
thanks.
I didn't have any more. Yeah, you answered my questions, but I had a lot of background noise and a lot of people here, so I muted out. But thank you for your time and advice.
Glad to help. Sorry it wasn't any. Sorry, as long as I got everybody on everything, I'm happy. So we did that one. So in that case, if no one else has anything, I'm Brian. It was really nice to see you today. Glad we got to hang out for a little while. Stick around. And you guys,
Agreed.
you guys can kill it whenever you want.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. See you guys.
Yep. I got to figure out how to stop the recording.